Bro, when you said Dusty Rhodes, Terry Funk, and Steve Dr. Death, the hair on my arm stood up. Like that's wow. Like I
Yeah,
always when I have guys on here, I say, what are some of your mark out moments? And you understand I'm not that's not anything derogatory. Like
no,
that's oh my gosh, am I really in this moment right now? You're looking
yes.
across the ring at those three guys. Like you must have felt like a 14-year-old kid again.
There's a few stories. The Bobby Eaton one was one of my mark out moments. The first time I wrestled Dusty down in his TCW company in Georgia, I'm in the ring, a bull rope match, CW Anderson, Dusty Rhodes. The first time I ever worked with Dusty. We strap up in the bull rope on the outside. I'm big bad CW Anderson ready to whoop Dusty Rhodes' ass. And on the inside, I'm 12-year-old Chris Wright going, holy shit, this is Dusty Rhodes.
Wow.
Same way with Barry Windham. The Dr. Death one I'm going to save. But, Dusty set me and Steve down one day with Barry, and that's how we made the Extreme Horseman. He goes, I got an idea for you guys. Barry, you came from the Horsemen. You were one of the original four Horsemen, and Steve, you and CW are from the Extreme. So I'm going to call you guys the Extreme Horsemen. So the night we formed, Steve and I are wrestling Dusty and Dustin in this real country town in Georgia, to where we handcuffed Dustin to the ring, beat Dusty, and Dusty's juiced like crazy. We're beating him. They send the boys from the back. And I wish somebody had this video on tape. It was I don't know who's got it, but you see me hit one kid with a chair in the face, and it flips over and hits the other kid in the back coming in. We had people storming the ring. I remember kicking an elderly lady in the face, getting her out of the ring. Barry Windham makes the save. We powder. Crowd's going crazy. He's got the chair and turns around and demolishes Dusty.
Wow.
They had to police escort us to the back. And then one of the security guys who helped set up the ring, who was in on it and knew what was happening, was in Barry's face screaming at him, and Barry headbutted him and broke his nose.
Wow.
So my first interaction with Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and again, it's those guys that you get to mark out for. And there's a Terry Funk story too. Dr. Death was a legend in Japan. His finish, the backdrop driver, he just dropping people on his head. And, Japan's a strong style fighting. So Steve tells me and Simon, look, we were wrestling Dr. Death, and I forgot who. I think PJ Walker was his tag partner. Not PJ Walker, PJ Freeman. Anyway, he goes, Dr. Death likes it stiff, CW. We're in Japan. You know what the strong style like. If you don't give it to him, he's going to beat the hell out of you. No problem. Steve's got us, me and Simon, psyched up. We get in the ring, and we start clubbing Dr. Death like a baby seal. We are beating the brakes off of him. He starts returning fire, and when he's punching us, it's tap, 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 tap. Oh, shit. He goes in the back and he goes, Steve, what the fuck, man? Your boys beat the shit out of me. And we were apologizing to him like crazy because Steve had worked us into that for beating up. So, and we felt so bad about that, for beating up Dr. Death like that. Then my Terry Funk story. Him and Steve are wrestling a barbed wire, MLW, in Fort Lauderdale. Terry says, he says, CW, run down, cut Steve out of the barbed wire. I'll roll out, I'll punch you, roll back in, we'll go to the finish. No problem. And I was in those days, I was a hothead. I'd never been in barbed wire before, never been around it. I do the gimmick, I roll down, cut Steve out. Terry Funk rolls out in Terry fashion, and not only does he punch me, he immediately grabs me and starts wrapping me up in the barbed wire. There's a picture of it on my Instagram where a fan from Japan made it into a towel because it made the Japanese sports paper. Japanese paper with me and Terry. Terry's got me wrapped up in barbed wire. I am screaming, and he's going, put your hands down. I was like, kiss my ass. Finally, Simon comes, and beforehand, Terry tells us, guys, now please don't hit me in the head with a chair. I got so many concussions. I'm not feeling the best in the world. Terry, no problem. We got you. We'll take care of this. No problem. There's video of this, and I think it's on YouTube. I roll back in after Steve finishes the match. I take the chair, and I'm so mad because I'm cut up. The chair touches the back of my ass when I hit Terry with the chair. I crumble him. Boom. Steve is laying beside him apologizing for me because I am so mad. Putting the boots to him, and I'm screaming because I'm so mad. few hours later, I felt like complete shit for doing that. But in the moment, I crumbled him with that scare. I felt so bad afterwards. And again, I loved Terry so much and respect him. But at that moment, I had lost my cool because of it. And when I heard he
Yeah.
passed away, that was the first thing I thought of that moment. You know, because before that, we would attack him out in the selling gimmicks, and he'd have barbed wire wrapped around his hand and back fisting us like that. Like I'm shoot scared of him. If you go watch the video on War Games, he comes, punches me in the face with barbed wire, takes the kendo stick, and starts beating me like my granddad used to. And you see me shoot running for him because he is wearing my ass out.
When I was around, that's funny. When I was around Dr. Death,
For some reason, he thought I was somebody else that he knew in the past. Like he said, "Oh my gosh, remember when we used to do this?" And he was so nice to me that I didn't. And I was such a mark for him. I didn't have the heart to tell him I wasn't him. So I'd see him like I saw him like 4 or 5 times, and every time he's like, "Come here, it's been so long," and I'm like, "You don't know me. You think like he was like, remember we went out that one time?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, Doc." But what I just went with it because
Just
I
go
wanted
with
to be his friend.
Yes. Yeah, I've done. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I would have never broken that. Yeah, I remember that night, Doc. Yeah, it was fantastic.